right, hi guys.
Hi.
I'm glad you're sticking with us here tonight. So for those of you who don't know, I work at the Seneca Park Zoo. How many of you guys have been to the zoo before? So a lot of you know the creatures that walk around there, the visitors. They're interesting folk, and when you work at the zoo long enough, you kind of realize that the animals aren't the interesting thing. It's the people that are visiting the zoo that are the interesting thing. So me and the zookeepers, we often get together and create scavenger hunts for the different types of people that come to the zoo. So one of them will be 8-year-old girl with a stuffed animal on her head, you know those hats that go on the head, or dad with a t-shirt that says world's greatest dad on it. So we kind of go through and check those off. But I love my job at the zoo, and I'm kind of a teacher there. I do like scout programs and workshops, and I also do a stage show for kids. And it's a free-flighted bird show, so there's like an owl involved, there's a hawk involved, and there's a particular hawk named the Lady who's involved. Woo. Did someone move? No. Lady's a jerk. That's the point of this story. So Lady, she normally, we open up a door and she flies out of the stage and she flies up to the roof of the building and she comes down and she flies back to the stage. But this summer she decided to kind of go AWOL. And I've worked with her for 3 years, and she decided to kind of start flying off and attacking people. So visitors, unbeknownst to them, would come to the zoo to enjoy a kids show about birds where there's a duck and a rooster. And then if the visitor didn't have hair, they might get snatched by a talon. So it was an interesting thing. So she started to fly off and do all these things. So we kept giving her timeouts. We'd be like, okay, Lady's not going to go out today. We're not going to let her out. We're not going to let her fly. We're going to put her in timeout for the day. And there was one day in particular after she flew off, because not only did she attack people, she would fly off and she would just decide to stay in trees for hours on end. And one of the rules is when you work at the zoo and you have an animal that flies off, the fly-off protocol is you have to have eyes on it until sunset, return at sunrise, and have eyes on it. So eyes on it at all times. She would go up in trees and sit there for hours and hours and hours on end. So this was a day after she had attacked one of the zookeepers and left these scratches on top of his head. So we decided we're not going to fly her today. We're going to do a safe protocol here. We're not going to do it. My boss, being cocky, says, you know what? No, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling this. She's going to do it. She's going to fly, Angela. I'm like, I know she's going to fly, Kenny. So we decide to give it a shot, and we open up her stage carrier, and have a little mouse bit. We throw the mouse bit into the back of the stage. She stares at it, and she looks up at us, and then she flies off. And I'm like, okay, great, this is exactly what I predicted. Perfect, Kenny, perfect. So I have 2 addictions, one being cigarettes, one being caffeine. So I tell them, hey, we're going to be here all night. I'm leaving to get cigarettes. I'm leaving to get a Monster Energy drink, which is my caffeine of choice. And I say, come back. So I leave, I run to the store, I come back, I come with my purse back to the stage. I leave my purse at the stage because that's where I always leave it, because that's where I spend most of my time during the summer. So meanwhile, we're watching Lady, visitors are coming up to us. Hey, what are you guys looking at? Like, there's a hawk in the tree. She's supposed to be up there? No. No, she's not. Why are you guys staring at it? Because she's not supposed to be up there. Is it a real mouse that you're throwing up? Yeah, I mean, how else would you lure down a hawk other than with a mouse, a dead mouse, or a dead rat, or a dead bird? So frustration's building. All this is happening. She's staying in the trees around the stage. She decides to fly off to the front of the zoo for about 5 minutes. We grab our radios, we chuck after her, we're sprinting after her, we go after her. She's up there for about 2 minutes before a bald visitor walks by. And he's walking with his granddaughter, holding her hand, walking. He's just taking his time. She swoops, just misses his head, and he veers into the main building. So he has no idea this hawk almost got him. So we get her back to the stage area with this mouse. So we're at the stage area. Eventually, I go and get one of the big, giant emergency rats, we call it. Because they're huge. Throwing it up in the air, thought it comes down. Throwing it up in the air, thought it comes down. Finally, she she dives down to get up. I grab her, we put her in the carrier. Success, ladies in. We don't have to stay till late at night. Phew, this is done. I'm like, all right, perfect. Time for a smoke. I need to relax. I turn back to the stage and I say, hey Kenny, have you seen my sunglasses? He's like, oh, they're sitting next to your bag. Kenny, have you seen my bag? No. We searched everywhere and my bag was stolen in the midst of the hawk flying around. One of the visitors ran up to the stage, yanked my sunglasses, and yanked my bag. So in my bag happened to be my keys to the zoo, my keys to my apartment, my keys to my car, my keys to everything. Also my wallet, which had in it my social security card, both my credit cards, my debit card, my license, my glasses, and I no longer had vision insured. So all these things were in this one stupid bag that I decided to leave at the stage while this fucking hawk was flying around. So my boss decides to drive me back to my apartment because I don't have my car keys, so I can't take my car. I get back to my apartment, I call the person who has my spare car key, or my spare apartment key. They say, oh, I locked my keys in my car today, and my keys have your apartment key on it. And I'm like, oh, I can't get into your car without your spare car key because your spare car key is locked in my apartment. So, I break into my apartment eventually, because I couldn't get a hold of my roommate, of course. And I finally get a ride back to the zoo, and where's my spare car key? But it's sitting in my car, so I can't get into my car. So I call AAA, they break into my car, I finally get into my car, I get back to my house. I decide, hey, this is enough, I've had a rough day, I'm taking it easy, I'm not gonna worry about it, I deal with the rest in the morning. So, morning comes, I decide I'm gonna go right to the bank and talk about all this lost charge cards, this lost credit cards, this lost, and see if I can get any money out of it, because it's been payday, so hopefully they'll let me do this. I get there, they say, oh, we're sorry, you can cancel all your cards, but we can't give you any money unless you have a photo ID. I pull out my passport, show it to them, they say, oh, this expired 3 days ago. So we can't do anything for you. I'm like, but it's me, it's 10 years ago. It's less weathered and haggard by time. And they say, no, they can't do anything. So I go to the DMV, and the DMV says, sorry, we can't give you a new license without charging you the fee without a police report. So I go to the police, fill out a police report. They say, oh, we're sorry, we can't give you a copy of the police report without a photo ID. Will this passport work? No, this passport won't work. So I go back to the DMV, tell them this story. They say, sorry, we can't do anything for you. So I go back to the cops. I'm talking to the cops and I'm like, you know what, let's get a more detailed police report about this. Let's get everything squared away. I'm going to make this easy on you. We got to take more information down. So he's talking to me and he says, so what was in your bag? And I tell him everything. Well, what did your bag look like? Was it a Coach bag? Was it a Vera Bradley bag? I'm like, no, it was an old fly fishing bag that I found at a garage sale. So did it have like a Calvin Klein? No, it was an old fly fishing bag. What about your wallet? Was your wallet a Vera Bradley? Was it a Coach? No, I have a camouflage wallet with a Boy Scout badge. He's like, well, I don't understand why anyone would take these. Either, Mr. Cop. So then he says, listen, I don't understand what's wrong with young women like you. You're carrying around your social security card. You guys really need to be more careful with your personal belongings. That's when I lose it. I start breaking down and crying. Finally, I broke. And the cop says to me, I'm sorry, ma'am, you're going to have to pull yourself together because I can't understand what you're saying right now. So, I give up on him. I go back to the DMV looking like shit. Finally, the person at the DMV is like, oh, you work for the county, don't you? I'm like, no, I work on county grounds, but technically I'm a society employee. She's like, no, you work for the county, don't you? I'm like, yes. So, do my forms, I get my temporary license, I can go to the bank, and things started to develop from there, except I just had to recently charge $500 to my credit card for a pair of new glasses that were in the bag. And also I have a new garage sale bag that I'm not a fan of. That's actually been the worst part of this whole thing. Is that I can't find a fucking bag that was as good as that fly fishing thing. It was fantastic. But yeah, that's my story. It's been a rough summer.